Hi, I'm Maya from Book from Dreams and welcome to a reading vlog. Today is the 2nd of October and this reading vlog was supposed to start yesterday, but yesterday was Sunday and I just couldn't be bothered. So I had a great plan for today to wake up early, like do some admin and do some prep for work and do some reading and whatnot. But then one of my colleagues got sick, so I had to come in early to work, and I just got back home and it's like about to be 5 p.m. So awesome. So this week's reading vlog is going to revolve around Becca's Spookopoly readathon, which is the spooky version of Becca's Spookopoly readathon. Basically, you have like a Monopoly board with like various prompts, and then you throw a dice and you move your thingy around the board, and then you get prompts, and then you pick a book for that. So I did all my dice throwing off camera because it's easier that way for me. And I picked 3 books to read, at least 3 times to throw the dice to get 3 books to read for this week. So I first landed on TBR Vet, and for that I'm going to read this book, which is the first book you see on my Goodreads Want to Read page when you put it on dates added. And that is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I have a physical copy. I do have an audiobook, so I'm going to follow along, and hopefully that will help me for days I haven't read. Because it's second, and I haven't even started. This book has 652 pages. I have no idea how long the audiobook is. Probably around, if I put it at 2 speed, around 12 to 10 hours. We'll see. But yeah, in this story we follow 2 sisters. One who was raised her entire life to be married off to some dude. But then the other sister gets married off to this dude, unprepared and whatnot. And then the first sister, I guess, goes in to save her or something like that. I have no idea. I do know that there is magic to do with color, I think. We'll see when I start reading it. That's book 1 for this week. Then, after that, I threw the dice and I fell on Spoopy. That's the prompt. So apparently Spoopy means that it's spooky but not too scary. So it could be like a cozy horror or something that is not like shit your pants scary. So for that prompt, I picked The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. This is a story in which you follow Kara, right? So she basically inherits her uncle's house after he dies, obviously, and then she finds like a portal in the house that goes through other worlds. It says here, if you can't tell, it says here, pray that they are hungry. So yeah, hopefully, I mean, the one that The Hollow Places? No, we read, Christina and I had a buddy read with the girls from Morina Kutia, Vesna and Antonia. We've read The House with Good Bones. We do have a live show for that, so I'll leave everything down below for you to check out if you haven't already. We read that one. That one wasn't all that scary, so hopefully this will be similar to that, so it would fit the prompt. If not, I'm going to have to find something else to read. And you know, everybody keeps talking about like middle grades, that they're not scary, but you know, middle grades can be pretty creepy, and that's not something I want to read right now. And then after that, I threw the dice and I landed on Stabby. For that, the sort of interpretation of that could be, you know, to read something with grimdark fantasy and whatnot, or something that people stab other people and whatnot. Since I'm not really doing like the horror thing with this readathon, which I guess that was the point, but I don't really read a lot of horror and spooky shit. I picked grimdark fantasy, and I'm going to read Half a War by Joe Abercrombie. This is book 3 in his Shattered Seas trilogy. And do I know what this is about? No. Words are weapons, only half a war is fought with sword. Sometimes one must fight evil with evil. We'll see what happens. But each of the books so far has followed a different character. It's set in the same world, but with different characters and different sort of setups and whatnot. So I'm guessing this will be different as well. So yeah, now it's 5:05, and I am going to start reading this. Wish me luck. Alright, so it's Tuesday. I've just finished filming my September wrap-up. Should be up before this video, so I'm supposed to be editing it now. We'll see when that happens. Anyway, so last night, while I was looking at my small pile of books, and I was like, Maya, you have to start reading Warbreaker. You have to start reading Warbreaker. and I was just not feeling it. I was like, okay, no, I'll just read fan fiction on my phone or something. But then I was like, okay, you don't have to start reading Warbreaker. Then I didn't. I started reading The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. This is where I'm at right now. This I read some after I got from work, back home from work today. So I'm 13 chapters in. I'm on page 175. It's a big font, so I should have like an hour or two more of listening / reading to do to finish it. So I was wrong in my summary because I thought the lady like inherited her uncle's house after he died, but she didn't. She basically moved in with her uncle after her divorce, and her uncle has this wondrous museum thingy filled with oddities and such. And one time she finds a hole in the wall of this museum, and she goes and gets her friend from the coffee shop next door or across the street, and the two of them go exploring this hole, and they figure out that it leads to another world. And this is where things get creepy. What I like about this so far is, first of all, this is not cozy fantasy. It's too creepy and scary to be cozy fantasy. There were some really graphic things happening. So I guess if this book fails in the prompt, but will I find another cozy, not cozy fantasy, cozy horror. Will I find another cozy horror to fulfill this prompt? I have no idea. Anyway, what I like about this is that it's not gradual. It just starts and you immediately get into the, world exploring and how creepy stuff is and how the landscape changes, and there's like water, there are creepy willows, there's lots of Narnia references, there's like, things in the forest or between the branches, and there was that dude who basically lives with like his lower half exposed organ-wise, like you can see everything, and it's so gross, but it's very vivid and it's very graphic, and I am enjoying it a lot. So yeah, I will be finishing this today, and then I think I will start with Half a War and just leave Warbreaker till the end, because oh my god, like the audio book is like 24 hours, I believe, if you listen normal speed. So it's a giant book. I mean, I can see it from here, it's a giant book, but still, I don't know what I was thinking. But anyway, so I'm reading this, and I will talk to you when I finish it. So I finished this thing. It's currently like 9 p.m. On a Tuesday. This is definitely not cozy horror or any. There isn't any coziness here. There's just creepiness and just general horror stuff. So what I failed to mention in my previous update is that we follow Kara and Simon. Kara, who finds this hole in the wall of the museum and gets her friend Simon, and then together they go through the hole into a new world, which is inhabited by willows, which is a type of tree. And they see some creepy shit, and they come back. They get lost for a moment, but find their way back to their world, and from then on they're plagued by nightmares, sleepwalking incidents, and just general creepiness that keeps happening. And there's a whole like fight because there's some thing from that world that found its way into their world and wants to go back. And there's some creepy taxidermy shit coming alive and just general creepiness. So it doesn't fit at all in my like spoopy prompt that I got this book for. But does that mean that I will try to find something more spoopy to read? No. But yeah, finished this one. And I liked it much better than House with the Good Bones, because this one was more, first it was more actiony, it was scarier and creepier, even though the character did similar things than the one in the House with the Good Bones. Like, she tried to explain or logic stuff away that couldn't really be logicked away. But I like how it was very immediate. There wasn't like a rising sense of dread. It was immediately creepy and stuff, and we didn't have to wait for the scary shit to happen. It happened quite quickly. There's also an element of Kara learning about what's happening in this other world through a book. She found a Bible, supposedly from another world, and she took it with her, and she read through it, and she found some like notes. Basically, the book was used as a journal by someone who was there, so we got to learn about the world from there, and that very scary, creepy thing that makes the skin you have unravel while it eats you alive, or doesn't eat you alive, or just studies you. So that was fun. But yeah, I finished this. So I'm thinking the next one will be this. So Half a War by Joe Abercrombie. Will I start this today? I have no idea. It's like 9:15. I should be editing my video, but I'm not feeling all that motivated. We're gonna chill for a minute, and then probably start this one. Hi! So it is Wednesday, 9 p.m. right now. I am currently at halfway point of Half a War by Joe Abercrombie. I have no idea what I told you in the last clip, so I'll just recap. So this is book 3 in the Shattered Sea series, and in this series we follow several characters, and I guess they're all coming together in this war that has been brewing for 2 books. So in this Viking-inspired world, we have like this great king guy who is set on conquering everybody else. And so we follow a bunch of other like minor kings or whatnot who are trying to band together, have an alliance and fight against this dude. There is sort of forbidden magic in this world that we're about to get to know a bit more of, but mostly you follow various warriors as they are trying to help their kings, and their kings have advisors which are called fathers or grandmothers. So there are grandmothers who are sort of connected with each other. They all come from like the same sisterhood of like crazy old witches who are like communicating with each other and sort of, I guess, plotting and manipulating their kings and queens to do what they want. And then on the other side you have the fathers, again with the quotes, who are doing the same thing but they are on opposite sides. And in this story, it's called Half a War because in this story we follow a young girl named something that starts with S. Skara. So at the beginning of the book we see Skara witnessing the death of her grandfather, who is also the king of their tiny little kingdom, by the hand of the, like, I guess he's not the main villain, he's the main villain's henchman. Basically he goes around conquering shit. And she then flees the kingdom and hooks up with the alliance, and she's trying to sort of situate herself as the queen and, you know, in her own power and whatnot. And she has sort of also been trying to manipulate things and do stuff, even though she's 17 and she's frightened of everything, and you know, she's very new at this queening thing, but she's doing all right. Then we follow a couple of warriors that we've met before, and they're basically trying to fight against the conquering villain guy. This is a grimdark fantasy, which means there's lots of death, there's lots of fighting, there's men acting manly, you know. I have to say, as I go along, it gets better and I'm more into the story. I'm going to continue reading for a little bit, but I am not as enamored with the characters as I was in previous books. I remember loving the second book because we followed a very specific kind of female character who wanted to be a warrior in this society, and the shit she had to go through to become a warrior was really fascinating, and it was a fun read. This has more manipulation and, you know, working behind the scenes. Like, there were people trying to kill the girl because she has been influencing things to go in a way that the grandmothers didn't want it to go. So their solution was to kill her, poison her and whatnot. Yeah, so, but, you know, so far I'm enjoying it. We'll see what happens next. Hi, it's Thursday morning. Last night I got to hear, so I have an hour left of my audiobook. The war is technically over because they're not wizards, they're like ministers and advisors and whatnot. They went on a mission to get forbidden elvish weapons, and they used them, and now everyone's dead, pretty much. Yeah, the enemy, I guess. And I have an hour left. So I guess we will see the fallout of the whole thing, and you know, what is going to happen to the characters that we are following. The new queen who betrothed herself to some other king, then her let's call her bodyguard guy, who she's been sleeping with for a bit, dealing with it. He sort of lost his family. A bunch of people have died. It's just, what I'm thinking about actually is the end of, oh my god, the First Law trilogy, and how at the end of this trilogy, things sort of ended, but then you see all the background stuff that's been happening, and you see that, you know, the people that you thought were good guys are not good guys, and, you know, how they are manipulating things from the background. And I think the same thing will happen here, because we have all those ministers and all those grandmothers/mothers who are advising the queens and kings of these various kingdoms, just sort of plotting behind their backs to make things go their way. And I don't like that. I don't like reading about that, because it's like, you know, our characters can't catch a break. They can't really, they seem like passive participants in the story because they think they're making decisions, but they're not, because they're being manipulated and pushed into specific directions, and they don't have any choice to do, you know, anything else. And, you know, I would like my characters, I hope like the characters sort of grow backbone and just ignore everything that these ministers are trying to do, unless like a giant calamity will just befall all of them and destroy everything, because that was the fear with the elvish weapons that they used. They're called like god breakers, so maybe some god will be broken right now. We'll see what happens next. 1 hour left. Hi, today is Saturday. It is about to be 8 p.m. Now, the last you've heard from me was, I believe, oh my god, was it Friday or Thursday? I don't remember. It was like, oh, I only have 1 hour left of half a war, and I'll finish it today, and I'll start something new. So I finished half a war today, on Saturday, during the day. And what to say? I got to a point, I'm going to spoil this now. So this whole trilogy deals with this Shattered Sea place, where you have various kings in a Viking-like society, and they have this great war against like this high king who chose to like follow one god, not the many. And, you know, he was quite successful until our, let's just say, what do you even call, he's not a priest, he's not a wizard, he's like a advisor to the king. Everything was going smoothly until he decided to get elvish weapons, which were banned for a reason, which go against their like creed and against the rules of their society and whatnot. And he used them to destroy the king and his warriors and other advisors and such. And this was all done out of revenge for things that happened in the past. Now, if you've ever read Joe Abercrombie's First Law, the character I talk about is basically Bias, or whatever his name was, the anti-Gandalf character in the First Law trilogy. And we get to this point, the last 100 pages of the book, where the war is over. We sort of trying to figure out what is going to happen to the characters that we're following in this book. And we have this young queen. She's like 17, and she goes to speak to this dude. Oh my god, what was his name? Like, I should know his name because it's important. Yarvi. So she goes to talk to Yarvi, and he's like, no, little girl, listen to me. This is how things are going to be done. And at this point, I put my book down, and I went off to do a chore of some kind because I could not. And I was like thinking to myself, I'm not going to read any more of Joe Abercrombie because this is what he does. He writes fantasy. I mean, it's grimdark fantasy. I understand it's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be like filled with shades of grey. It's not black and white. And I got to a point I was like, I'm done. I don't want to read this kind of fantasy. I like my heroes to be more heroic. I don't need to know that, you know, the character that we have been following has orchestrated the entire fucking plot of this trilogy and the suffering and the war and everything of everyone out of revenge. And now that he's in power, because he made himself the grand wizard of whatever, the grand advisor, whatever, of his society, that he's now like so consumed with power that he gets to fucking tell people what to do. Like, I'm like the big kahuna. You're going to listen to me and what I say goes. Like, I'm the one vote that counts. It's like a whole fucking name of the chapter. And I went off and I was like, oh, I cannot fucking deal with this. And then I came back and I read the thing. And I finished the scene. And it's great I did, because it turns out the queen is not as helpless as she seemed. She found like inner strength or whatnot, her backbone, and she figured out how to manipulate, manipulate and steer him. Like, you and I can like be friends, not enemies, and I want to fight for my kingdom and whatnot. So the book ends. A book ends not on a hopeful note, because there is like signs of future conflict, because another kingdom that was part of this alliance now has a new king who's like, I'm the biggest, baddest motherfucker that ever was, and I'm gonna conquer you all. But I think I'm done with Joe Abercrombie. I think like I have been sort of putting the fourth book in the First Law trilogy on my TBR and on my reading challenges and whatnot for like ever since I read the first 3 books, and I don't think I want to continue on, because this is not the type of fantasy that I want to read. So I don't want to like not read grim fantasy ever again, but I think I want my fantasy to be more heroic. I want my characters to be more noble, I guess. So yeah, I finished the book. Now, since this is Saturday evening, and I have technically my 3 books were supposed to be read in this 1 week. My book I have to read now is Warbreaker. Let me go get it. This one, which has, I want to say, oh Jesus Christ, 650 pages. The audiobook is 24 hours long. If I do it at 2 speed, I get to 12. And then usually I can get to 2.3 or something, which let's just put it at 11 hours. Do I want to spend my entire Sunday listening/reading this? No. So what is going to happen? And I have some things I have to read next week. So what is going to happen? I'm going to start this, and I will update you tomorrow how far I've gotten and what's happened. I don't know if I should even start it, because I'm not going to make myself finish this next week, because next week I have to read, like, I have a body read, I have a read for a book club that I have with Christina, and something else I have to read. But I also have to prepare myself for Creation Book Month, because Morena Kutia has a challenge to read speculative fiction by Creation authors. And this is my TBR for that. This thing. All of them in Creation. None which have audiobooks. It will take me longer to read them physically than I usually either immerse read or I just listen to audio. So, what to do? I don't think I'll start Warbreaker. So I guess this is the end of the vlog. So this is week 1 of October. This is my reading for Spookopoly. But technically, Becca's Spookopoly lasts into the entire month. So I have the entire month to read this. So, yeah. I'll guess you'll just have to follow along and watch my October wrap-up to see if I finish this. Or maybe I'll do a specific reading vlog just for this book. Well, we'll see. But yeah, this is it for this week's reading vlog. If you want to share your thoughts, please do so down below. There are some links in the description box for you to check out. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You can press the like button if you like this video. You can also press the bell button when you subscribe to get notifications for new videos. I do believe Christina will be having some videos soon. She'll talk about all the stuff that she's read for Space Opera September and some other stuff. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in a new video. Bye!